Tabone.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Allow me to congratulate the minister. When I follow him, he's committed, and his pronouncements have remained professional. Mr. Speaker, whereas you have told us that you are going to recruit around 24,000 teachers, for which we are happy, given that Kakamega County alone, in my office, I have a list of 6,300 teachers hoping that I can help them to get employed. Can you confirm that it is not the ministry's policy that the only people who should benefit from the recruitment are children who are trained and qualified in science-related courses? If that is the case, as you have directed in the current recruitment, what is the fate of the others who are educated and trained by the government in non-science related courses? Are you telling them that their future has collapsed? Will they ever be employed? Or do you want them to be employed abroad, as the Minister for Labor has been cheating people that they can employ people abroad? These are very serious practical issues. And more so, Mr. Speaker, we have children who are now, in fact, not children,
Senator Boni, you've asked your question. Now you're giving a speech.
Allow me just press it a little bit so that the voters know that we are alive to their problems. Mr. Speaker, we have young adults aged 40, 41, 42, 43 years old. They have been waiting to be employed. And there is some rule in the ministry that once you are 45 and above, you cannot be employed. Where will these young people go?
Senator for Nairobi City County.
Honorable Speaker, in just the past 2 weeks, the Ministry of Education has actually conceded that when they were doing an audit of schools, out of the they had audited 12,000 schools out of the 17,500 and found that there were 50,000 ghost students. And in fact, the PS for Education, Bitok, was before the National Assembly, and he confirmed that the problem was most rampant in secondary schools. Now, the ministry sent money to these schools. They know the schools. They know the ghost students. Can the minister tell us today the names of those schools and the names of the persons who withdrew that money? Because by my math, if you are sending 16,000 shillings as capitation, then the country has lost almost 1 billion shillings in that financial year alone from these ghost students. So who are these people who are withdrawing this money?
Senator Mwanagataya.
Good, Honorable Speaker. I've been to quite a number of schools where I've found JSS classes mangled with primary schools. There's a lot of confusion in those primary schools where you find a graduate teacher, maybe is under the headship of a P1 teacher. I mean, there's a lot of confusion. What are you doing to make sure that you establish an independent JSS structure where we have an JSS which is just started on its own without necessarily having been put in a primary school?
Senator Catherine Muma.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to ask a question. Welcome CS to the Senate. Honorable Speaker, my question to the CS is, would you kindly tell the Senate whether your ministry has been allocated adequate budget to ensure that no school in Kenya is unduly or disadvantaged for lack of resources and capitation? And if the budget you've been given is not adequate, what conversation are you having to ensure that you get this budget, because we have a responsibility to ensure that no child suffers, particularly in a discriminatory manner where some are assisted and others are not assisted.
Senator Fernandi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to ask the Cabinet Minister of Education, what is his position? Because most of these challenges stem on the running and effectiveness of junior secondary schools. What is the ministry's position on the independence and governance structure of managing junior secondary schools, noting that it is distinct between lower primary schools and upper primary schools? Could you clarify, Mr. Speaker, noting that the JSS have been on the streets demanding that they need to be managed independently? And Mr. Speaker, I want to inform the government chief whip that there is no one cheating anybody. Kasi Maju is a reality. I will take him to some classes after this session.
Senator Mbugua.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. CS, a recent inspection of many schools across the country reveals that these labs and the learning facilities which are being put up do not have a universal design, and the majority of them are not accessible to the special needs teachers. What is the ministry doing to ensure that the special needs teachers who goes to the normal schools are catered for and they benefit from these facilities? Thank you.
Honorable CS, you may now proceed to respond.
So to Senator Manzo's question, the question is specific, and I did indicate that all our junior schools have either a purpose-built laboratory or a converted classroom for teaching practical components. Those that do not have purpose-built labs are being considered as resources become available. But so far, 20,926 of our junior schools have either purpose-built laboratories or classrooms converted into labs that can be used for practical lessons. Now, the recruitment of the 24,000 teachers is a recruitment that is targeted to ensure that we bridge the gap of the teachers that we do not have in junior school. And that gap shows that out of the requirements that we have, 60% of them are STEM required teachers. So the recruitment would be at least 60% of those would be science or STEM trained teachers, and the rest will be those trained in the other arts and other science, social sciences. So it is not that there is one group that will completely not get employment. It is just that there is a discrepancy, and therefore it's an analysis that has been done, and to show we get the teachers that we need, and progressively, because next year we also have a plan of employing another 16,000. So we'll be able progressively to ensure that as we train our teachers, we are able to employ them. This last week, we held a conference of all the stakeholders in the education sector. And the question we asked ourselves, where should we start? Should we start from the admissions to what the universities or the colleges have, or should we start from what we require from the market? So that we trained teachers or we train our graduates for jobs that are required in the market, industry linkage. So that conversation is now taking place so that we have a comprehensive policy where we are training for available jobs, so that we do not train, for example, 100,000 teachers when we require 35,000 teachers. We don't train 500 doctors when we require 1,500 per year, so that we can have a policy that is informed by data in order for us to ensure that we do not have some sectors having an oversupply of the particular careers and others we have an undersupply. So that conversation is now being had between all the stakeholders in the education sector in order for us going forward to have a comprehensive, a coherent policy that is end to end.
Honorable CS, you have 3 minutes to...
To Honorable Sifuna's question, yes, what we decided to do is after the Auditor General flagged out that she had done a specific audit for the last 4 years, a forensic audit for the last 4 years, where they discovered discrepancies, we decided as a ministry in this third term to only release resources to schools where we have verified the number of students that have been enrolled. That exercise is ongoing. We have done 75% of it. We have about 25% to go. And those anomalies are now being discovered. So what I would urge is that we will not be able to give you the full analysis as we speak until we complete. But once we complete, we will analyze, for example, if resources were sent to a bank for school X, we'll have to find out who signed for those resources from that bank, and action will be taken because that's criminal. So that is the reason why we are doing this verification, in order for us to be able to know for sure how many students do we have, how many learners do we have in each stage. That question is tied to Honorable Muma's question on the basis of the budget. Because the budget to our ministry is based on the number of students that we have, because we have a policy of 1,540 for primary school, 15,000 for junior school, and 22,200 and something for secondary school. Now, if we do not have the proper numbers, then you can't push for the proper budget. So that's why when we submit our budget to Parliament and to Treasury, it is slashed because we do not really agree, all of us as government, as to what is the actual number of students that we have. That's why we said, let's do a verification exercise so that for sure we know what number we have. When we submit our budget, it will not be subject then to slashing because the numbers will be known by everybody. So it's going to help us make those decisions, and it's a good exercise. And where some people have committed